Hello, everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Tokyo 24 Coup, Episode 2. It even rhymes. Uh, this episode is not a double feature. I already checked that, but I think it would be too much to expect every single episode of this series to be 48 minutes long, right? It's not Princess Principal Crown Handler, after all. And in case of Princess Principal Crown Handler, those episodes are being released fairly infrequently. So yeah, 48 minutes per episode doesn't really fit a seasonal anime, right? I'm glancing here a little bit to check the audio because I've been messing around with it. I think it sounds better now, but you can never know. You guys, let me know either in the comments or on my Discord. Uh, does my audio sound good? I've been like listening to it myself and it sounds good, but I don't know. Maybe I have shitty speakers or shitty headphones and you hear something that I don't with your, $5,000 headphones or something. Yeah. In the last episode of Tokyo 24 Coup, a lot has happened. First of all, there was the fire that was supposedly arson, right? The whole school burned down, and we met our main protagonist, it would seem, the red one. I don't remember their names. Hopefully, with time, I will learn them, but I'm just gonna refer to them as red, blue, and green for now. It's probably gonna stay that way until the end of the season, to be perfectly honest with you, because it's much easier way of referring to them. In any case, the red one tried to rescue a girl, probably his crush, maybe, I don't know, who is also a sister of the green one, I believe. And he didn't manage to do that because she was already dead. And later, their brains were hacked. Both red, green, and blue got a phone from that supposedly dead girl, and that phone call hacked their brains to the point where their eyes are now glowing and they have super strength and super agility and they can predict future to a certain degree of certainty. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird and doesn't really hold itself together all that well because I could understand it if they were in some freak accident and they needed some experimental surgery that implanted something in their brain or something like that, right? Or kind of like the plot of the beginning of Tokyo Ghoul, right? Kaneki needed a transplant, the transplant came from a ghoul and he became part ghoul. But hacking brains through a phone call, it's a little bit of a stretch, but they had to start it somehow, right? So uh, I'm not gonna mind the fact that they get their superpowers because of a phone call. I'm not gonna bother. We're gonna see how it goes further and what it does with those powers of theirs. They use them once to save their other friend, so yeah, probably it's gonna be maybe not villain of the week, but kind of an incident of the week kind of show. Maybe, I'm not quite sure. Maybe up to a point, like 6 episodes in, and we're gonna start talking about the main story. My prediction is that their dead friend was somehow turned into an AI, and I will keep to that prediction because that seems to be the most probable explanation for everything that's been going on so far. I don't know. We'll have to watch it and see. I don't think we're gonna get any answers in episode 2, but perhaps by the end of this series, we are gonna get them. They're not gonna cuck us like Tact of Destiny did. Right? Please don't do what Tact of Destiny did. I know that they are keeping all the answers for the gacha, but the gacha still isn't out, and I still have questions, and I need answers. So, don't do that. Don't do that, Tokyo 24 Cool, please. I know there have been some production issues. They seemingly don't have enough time to produce this anime. Uh, Hopefully, it won't have much impact on the quality of the show. Maybe it's gonna get delayed some episodes, kind of like Saihat no Paladin. Hopefully not. But out of the two probabilities of, either getting a bad show, bad quality, or having half the season delayed, I'd rather they delay half a season. Honestly, delay it indefinitely if need be. Pull a Kekai Sensen that delayed their finale like what 2 months or something to make it truly impactful one. I'll be honest with you, I don't quite remember how Kekai Sensen ended, so I don't know if it was that impactful. But that's the decision they made, and I fully support delaying things instead of rushing them and making them badly. Okay, let's not talk anymore about it. Let's just jump into it. I had to swap cups in my earphones because those previous ones with 4 letters started shedding like flakes of plastic. Those are plush. Hopefully they won't be too hot. I don't know, we'll see. They don't provide quite a perfect seal, but it's the middle of the night. It's 2 a.m. actually, so there won't be much noises to isolate me from. Yeah, let's just roll with it, right? Episode 2 of Tokyo 24 Coup, version by Sabs Please, is gonna be starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Sure, whatever you say. Anything but save you. Ah, it's the blue one that tried to save her, not the red one. Yeah, I forgot because it's usually like the red one that's the main, right? Like the red Power Ranger is always the leader. And I can already see a difference with those cups. I hear my own voice much better. Perhaps it will help me balance the audio a little more, or maybe it will completely distract me. I don't know yet. I can't tell. We'll see by the end of this episode, I guess. Triage altruism? Hmm. And this is an interesting tea. It's a bag of stinging nettle and bits of cypress ironwort. It's surprisingly good. Ironwort really goes well with stinging nettle, apparently. I got the ironwort from what would be the term? Goddaughter? My mom is her godmother, and she came for the Christmas from Cyprus and brought us some ironwort. And it's kind of crazy how they have ironwort there, and it's not something we have here in Poland, but we have some herbs that they don't have. They make preserves out of olives they grow in their garden. We make preserves out of beetroot and cucumbers that we have in our garden. The world is wild and wide. Sure. And the dog doesn't give a fuck. Hmm? Oh, right, the argument at the grave. Right. Some festival? I'm guessing something's gonna go tits up on that festival. Hmm. Gourmet festival. Oh, okay, so we really are getting into the whole uh, modern technology and buildings and whatnot versus the traditional. Okay, I see the themes of this show. And who are you? Nike looking dude. More like Verizon, I guess? Maybe. Hmm. Is it the red one? Bench pressing without a spotter and without any safety? Risky business. From the Asumi AI. Without a doubt, I think. Okay, I'm glad he's being open with it. I'm glad there is someone besides the three of them that knows about it now. Because there's usually some drama that stems from the fact that they hide that secret and nobody knows about it. So we will hopefully be able to avoid any such drama. If it was a prank call, then it was a pretty fucking elaborate one. You have me now. Calling it now. Flashback? Because I see the helmet in a pristine condition and they're all still at school. Ah, she always loved him. Right. Bread crusts? You feed on bread crust or do you keep pigeons or something? Bread crusts with energy drink? I mean, whatever you're into. Bread crust and monster. What a dish. They have an audience. Oh, they didn't sub thank you. Interesting. Okay, and she's everywhere in their lives, it would seem. Or rather, in each of their lives. What's up with the redhead? She always seems to have an issue when the Asami is her name, the dead one, when she appears. Oh, okay. Wait, are we in the present? Yeah, okay, we are in the present and now we're jumping into the past. Okay. True. That's a lot of people. Okay, so is her deal right now only the Gore Fest, or is there something more to that? Because I'm getting a weird vibe from her. Oh, yeah, that was to be expected. Yeah. Or Asumi herself. What? Okay, so a gang owns a shopping mall? Yeah, it would seem so. Yeah, I wanna know. Okay, that's a bit of a dumb plot, if you ask me. An evil restaurant wants to use a gourmet festival to make a gang able to buy out a shopping street. That's some Sunday morning cartoon villainy, honestly. Yeah. What? Is this like Squid Ink? Okay, so now the rubble from demolition will be colorful at least. Okay, we're jumping into the fire now. So she herself ran into the fire first. What's this ripple effect? Okay. Okay, so she feels guilty because she didn't stop her friend from running in. Okay. And that also gives us a background as to why the school was burned. Right? Some company wanted that parcel, that area, that piece of land, so they decided to commit arson. So the school has to be demolished, and they can buy the land. Okay, yeah, it all fits into place now. Okay, meeting about the Gurfest. Gotcha. What kind of an atrocity will it create now? What? Okay, so out of nowhere, a vision of Asumi? Or is this the past? Or her memories, probably. Okay. And that's the episode. That's a nice ED tune. Are the actual Seiyu singing it? I think it's the actual Seiyu. Hmm. Oh, an after credits scene. Is that. Excuse me, what? What the fuck? Okay. Okay. Interesting. Let's go through this episode again. Can I? Yes, I can switch the scene. Nice. Full screen. Let's go. Uh, well, this episode wasn't easy to parse. a lot of jumping between past and the future, but let's try to make heads and tails of it. So, she, Ari, what's her name? I'm gonna pull up Mal real quick to have the list of characters. Um, Tokyo 24, cool. Characters. There we go. And her name is Asumi. Okay, Asumi. Right. Uh, we know for a fact that Asumi is an integral part of all of their lives, right? She wasn't just like best friends with Shuuta or just Kouki's sister. She was present in all of their lives. She was a very significant part. Now, I'm not sure about Mari. I'm not quite sure what her deal is. This episode is probably her fretting over the whole Gore Fest, and I probably shouldn't be reading any more into that, but I am reading something more into that. Hmm. Okay, that's the OP. And the episode. Uh yeah, the festival is happening and she was being questioned. I guess the footage that the policewoman took is not something she kept to herself, it's an actual evidence in their investigation. Now, how do they not know who it is, though? Doesn't matter. Okay, Kouki helps her. Kouki is it the green one? It is the green one. Okay. And festival. We have to win. We have to win. And they are acting against the big shopping mall. And there are those two dudes. I'm getting like Balkan Skull vibes from them. I overall, I'm getting real Power Rangers vibes from this show. Balkan Skull. I mean, tell me you're not seeing it. They open the same shop types. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And of course the shopping mall is run by some yakuza type dudes. Why wouldn't it be? There's some Zeroth, some American graffiti artist apparently. I don't think it's Ran, the red one. How would he get to America, right? I wonder if it's gonna be any significant, or maybe it's just a piece of news that's just a filler to show us that they're talking about news. Probably shouldn't be reading too much into it. Yeah, we are reminded of the train incident. Actually, really like it. This piece of news about the incident, that they aren't reminding us explicitly that, hey, you remember how yesterday you were in that incident? Oh, yes, I remember. How could I ever forget? You jumped there like a superhero to save me. They're reminding us that it happened through the consequences of it, right? Mari being questioned. Is her name Mari? I have to double check. Yes, Mari. Mari being questioned, and now they show us in the news. Of course, later we also talk about it directly, but the first mentions of the last episode are via those non-direct means. Okay, I guess he does have some sort of uh, safety, those bars in the back, so he's not being entirely stupid. Need my new ideas. His body has been feeling heavy because his muscles were hacked. Uh, yeah, it was a phone call from Asumi. As I mentioned, I really like that he opened up to Mari. It's way too often in shows where someone suddenly gains superpowers that they want to keep it to themselves, uh, no matter what. And it usually doesn't go well for them. It usually bites them in the ass that they are keeping it all in secret. Um, Mari, knowing about it, I hope it becomes significant. I hope I hope we are looking at a Chekhov's gun right now. I might be mistaken, but I hope. It was simply a prank call. And yeah, this lightning, this shadow, it started giving me vibes of Mari being maybe not quite yandere, but kind of like, oh, Asumi is no longer with us, but you're still thinking about her. You have me in your life now. You know, it's giving me those vibes a little bit, but I don't think I'm correct in that assumption. And now we're getting a flashback. Yeah, they are still in school. And he plays a superhero, Forever Chunibyo. And we see that Asumi, I need to learn those names sooner or later. Might as well try to do that from now on. Asumi is present in the life of Shuuta. That much we know. And here's Mari looking longingly at them, and that reinforced my belief that Mari has the hots for Shuta and sees Asumi as a bit of a rival, perhaps. But later scenes made me think that perhaps it's not entirely the case. Now, Mari is hanging out with Ran, and he also thinks about Asumi. It's a shared thing between them. Now, of course, they all think about Asumi because they had the phone call, so obviously it would be on their minds. But still, bread crusts, bread crusts, and he just casually dips those bread crusts in energy drink. I'm with Kinako here. I'm with Kinako here. You know what? It's getting made into uh, a little bit of a bigger piece, maybe, so I can always edit it. Yeah, it's getting made into an emote for my server. You can join it right now, by the way. Link is in the description if you want to use it as an emote. Yes, SARG reprimanded her. What the hell was that vision? Exactly. Exactly my question. It looked like Asumin. I like that he's still thinking about it, he's questioning it. By the end of the last episode, it seemed like Shuta would be the only one who kind of gives it any significance, that it sounded like Asumi. Asumi? Asumi. That it sounded like Asumi, but no, it seems that Ran also has those thoughts. He's not open with them, but he has those thoughts. And we're painting. And flashback. This episode has a very clear structure, right? We meet one of the members of the RGB in the present, we talk to them, we go to a flashback to show Asumi being in their lives. Simple, effective. Art is where you express your attitude. So, of course, painting what you were told to paint is not true art. Yada, yada, yada. Your art echoes with people's hearts, and we see how she was significant in all of their lives, right? And here we meet Kinako. And now back to present, we meet Kouki. Um, yeah, you had an argument, you have to make up. And Monjangle, that restaurant, that was foreshadowed in episode 1 actually. Right? There was that ad and people singing Monjangle or whatever they were singing. So it becomes significant. The Monjangle is a restaurant in that shopping mall. And that restaurant tries to win the Gurfest. I'm gonna get to it later because it's quite frankly fairly ridiculous and it bears, talking a little bit more about it. And here we're back in the past, another Gurfest, and he's handing out flyers, and again, Asumi appears suddenly in his life. Of course, she's his sister, so of course she would be a part of his life. But here we see her again appearing out of nowhere, like in all those previous situations. She just appears and makes the situation better. She brings volunteers and whatnot. Kyokutou is the founder, so he can side with anybody. Her. What's her deal? I very much like her as a character. I very much like her design. I expressed that profusely in the last episode. First, she seemed like an aide of Kouki's father, the governor. Then she seemed like the aide of Kouki himself, and still seems like that now. But what was the deal with the after credits scene? I've no clue. And of course, the phone call is spoofed, obviously. What's this scene, though? Okay, yeah, that phone call in the future. Yeah, the power cursing from my body. Okay. Gurfest is this week. Yeah, this. Yabusame. The mall is operated by Yabusame. Now, the whole plot, the whole issue here, the whole villainy is basically the Mon Jungle restaurant wants to win the Gurfest so as to ensure that somehow makes all the restaurants and shops in the shopping district go under. That's somehow a thing they expect to happen. I don't know. But it seems to be like that's their expectation here. So that the Yakuza owners of the mall can buy out the land. It's very Sunday morning cartoon evil, really. Now it does make sense, like in world, right? But you'd think that there would be something a little bit more nefarious behind it all, right? And not just Yakuza has a vague plan of making the restaurants look bad so they can buy that restaurant and build an evil factory in that place. That's basically the plot. It's kind of the same in the story, the Abydos story in Blue Archive. Yeah, yeah, they ruin the school so they can buy the land for cheap. Okay, yeah, there's many stories like that. I guess it's not only Sunday morning cartoons, but it kind of doesn't fit. Maybe not thematically, but weight-wise, if I can call it that, right? Because we have the precognition. They can see into the future. Their dead friend is calling them. There's some AI. There's signs of a dystopian society being built and whatnot. And here we're just getting, if I make this restaurant look bad, I will be able to buy it for cheap and build my factory of evil. Ha ha ha. Does, doesn't sit well with me, but perhaps they're gonna make something interesting out of it. We'll see. Uh, and of course, he won't allow any dishonesty. And here we're getting some backstory on the school, right? The primary school they attended, there are plans of demolishing it and building something in its place, and they are of course opposed to it. And I very much can understand that sentiment. I don't like when buildings are demolished either, unless they're like real eyesores. Uh, if you demolish a concrete cube and build a park in its place or build some other interesting architecture, I'm all for it. But if you demolish a concrete cube to build another concrete cube, what's the point? And this school could indeed be repurposed, right? There's a big gym, make it into a little bit of a concert hall, right? Have some concert there, or maybe have some sport events there, right? It's ready for that. You can even get money for entry, some symbolic amount of money to keep the whole place running. The pool, it's a perfectly fine pool. People can go there during the summer and swim there. The racetrack is perfectly fine. All the rooms, all the classrooms are perfectly fine. Um, there is a palace, an old palace, kind of castle nearby, and they repurposed it. They didn't, demolish it. They didn't make it into a museum or anything like that. It's a uh, what's the word? Community center. They made it into a community center. Uh, some big halls, big rooms in that palace. They mounted some mirrors, some railings, and they hold ballet lessons there. Some other rooms that have good lighting, they put some easels there, and they teach painting. The grounds are well kept, and there's an amphitheater there, and people hold concerts there, and there's a big park, and it's all alive. Once a year there's a big convention that I always attend each year, every year. And it's better to do that, to repurpose old buildings, than to just let them rot or to demolish them. Another good example is Epic Games bought out an abandoned mall, and they are making it into their headquarters. I'm all for it. It's better to do that than let that abandoned mall succumb to rot and graffiti and broken windows, right? Bit of a rant, but I have very strong feelings towards that, architectural revival, call it what you will. Yeah, we're painting and more people are talking about it. Did you know about it? No, I advised them to not do that. Considering my position, I must present several conditions. What are those conditions, though? We never hear about them. We jump straight to the fire. And we know that Mari died because she just ran into the fire. She thought she's a superhero and ran into the fire. And of course, Asumi holds a lot of resentment for herself because she wasn't able to stop her. Understandable. She blames herself for that. And now we get a lot of backstory, and things are becoming much clearer now that we do have this backstory. Yeah, I'm gonna scroll a little bit back. Okay, sure, yeah, this sounds like a decent frame. Maybe here. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Now we know what the deal is. I thought that they were in that school because of something, and that it was like an actual, active school. So, and that's why Mari was there. But now we know that it was their childhood school, their childhood memories, and that it was saved from demolition. And Mari was there for some reason, I don't know why. And of course, she ran inside to take care of anybody who might have been left there. That's one bit of backstory that it gives us, and that also explains why Shuuta and his friends arrived there later, after Mari was already inside. Because I thought that it's kind of weird that she was inside but they were outside. I thought maybe they had PE outside or something and she was inside. But then again, they all said that they graduated already, so it didn't quite work. Now it works. Now I understand what the deal is. And now we also have a reason for the fire. Why there was arson. It was there because the evil corporation who wanted this bit of land, the whole Yakuza thing, who also owns the mall, wanted this land. So they burned out the school so that it's unsafe to enter. And what do you do with burned buildings? You can't really restore them. You have to demolish them. So they burned the school so they get what they want. Now I wonder why there was no investigation in that direction. Perhaps corruption. I just stopped recording, so I will have to stitch this episode from two. That's what you get for having hotkeys to stop and start recording on your numeric keyboard and playing with your numeric keyboard. I really need like a separate keyboard for just hotkeys or something. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Regardless. Where was I? Yeah, the evil corporation wanted to get the land, so they burned down the school. Right. And that seems to be the villain of the first arc, at least. I don't think it's gonna be the persistent throughout the entire season. I think we're gonna deal with that corporation in like 4 or 5 episodes, and then we're gonna jump into much bigger, much more overarching kind of plot with the whole thing of with the whole thing with the uh, Asumi AI and the coal and what was the deal with that. Yeah, I think that's how this series is gonna go. But again, we'll see. And yeah, we have to win the Gurfest. We are all there to help you. And she has a flashback to the past. Alright, let's do this. ED? Real nice ED, honestly. And then the after credits scene hits. And what am I looking at? Like, I know what am I looking at. This is the whole like AI core that makes predictions about the future. But why is she here? Why is what's her face? Sakiko. Why is Sakiko here? What is she doing with this power cell looking thing? What will the observation results be? What observation? What? What? Just what? Just what? I've no clue. Don't ask me because I have no clue what's going on. Ah. Oh man. What a ride. I now more than ever, I really hope that they're not gonna pull tact up. I really hope that we're gonna get some actual answers. I really, really hope that. And I'm glad because of one thing. I'm glad that I didn't spot any production issues. Now, sure, some there were some CG people, some art looked a little bit wonky on their faces, some animations, but not it's not like they were super great in the first episode either. It's kind of like the case of Psyhead and Paladin. Perhaps even better, Sci-Fi and the Paladin was getting much more mileage out of stills and sliding PNGs, and I haven't seen many stills and sliding PNGs in Tokyo 24 Coup yet. So that alone tells me that perhaps the production isn't going as badly as people think it is going, unless it becomes more apparent later in the season. That's, perfectly possible. And it might just be a thing that happens. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of questions. Is, mm, you know, actually, no. The whole episode brought answers, not questions. It brought answers about the school. It brought answers about the arson. It brought us a lot of answers. The scene after credits brought us some more questions. And hopefully, episode 3 is going to bring us some more answers and it's going to bring us some more questions. I really like this way of pacing your show, I guess, where each episode asks some questions and brings some answers to previous questions. So you have continuity between them and you have the drive to continue watching all those episodes. I'm contrasting it with Tact of Destiny a lot because Tact of Destiny did something completely opposite. It kept asking more and more questions with every episode and would give us barely any answers. Only near the very end of the series we get some minute answers, but then we also got a whole truckload of questions on top of that. And those questions were not answered. And then in the epilogue, essentially after the series concluded, there was a bit of after credits scene or during credits. I can't remember when it was, but at the end, there were even more questions. Right, the reappearance of Unmei, and we're not getting any answers to that. And Tact Op is not gonna give us any answers. Now, they're gonna give us answers in the gacha, obviously, because the whole anime was just an elaborate ad for the gacha. But the anime itself is very much lacking in the answers department. Tokyo 24 Coup seems to be so far avoiding that pitfall. We are getting questions and we're getting answers. Questions, answers, questions, answers. And some of those questions that we are getting are questions regarding like the current arc of the show. And some of the questions, like the after credits scene in this episode, are questions regarding the overarching plot, the big picture of the show, the whole AI thing, the calls, the Asmi AI, and whatnot, right? I really like it so far. I really like how they're pacing this show and how they keep me wanting more. I'm not exactly, um, dying to know more about the Gurfes and how it's gonna go because I know that our power trio is gonna save the day. Of course, they are the protagonists, so obviously that's gonna happen, especially when the plot is such a, cartoon villain plot. But what keeps me wanting more is the questions about the overarching plot. And I have trust that we're gonna get answers. And so far, they haven't betrayed that trust. Tact of Destiny, similarly, I was watching to get those answers. The difference is I never got them. Hopefully, we're gonna get them here. Is there anything else worth mentioning about this episode? No, not really. I think I said everything that needed to be said about it. If I ever, feel like I need to talk some more about it, I'm gonna talk about it in the episode next week, or I'm gonna leave a pinned comment or something like that. But now it's time for you guys, you watching this. Tell me in the comments What do you think about it? What do you think of my reaction? What do you think of this episode? Where do you think is the story going? What's the deal with the Yakuza Mall? What's the deal with the AI thing? It's an original series, right? It's not based on any light novel or game or manga, so I have, I'm calm. Uh, I don't have to worry about you guys spoiling me anything, so write comments to your heart's content. I read all of them, you can be sure of that. I'm not getting many comments, so I have the time to read every single one of them. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve, also in the comments. And if you want to discuss something more about this show in real time, you can join my Discord server and just, talk to me. The link to that server is down in the description, so feel free to join. It's open to everybody. But there are a couple of secret channels for Patreons only, and you can also join that Patreon of mine if you really like what I'm doing and if you want to support me. Link is also down in the description, and there is also my name on Patreon here, right here, so you can find it there. Subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified of future releases. It's not only Tokyo 24 Coup, but also those Frontline, Symphogear. I'm really loving Symphogear, by the by, so you might want to watch that. One episode is already up on the channel, one episode is still on the Patreon, but it's going to be releasing soon to everybody. And Sabikui Bisco, which is surprisingly not many people watch it. I've looked at my channel analytics, I've been talking to people, and not many people are particularly hyped about it, not many people watch it. I'm getting like 200 views on Symphogear and 24 views on Sabikui Bisco, so not many people look for it, but it's a hidden gem, really. If you're looking for an interesting shonen to watch, I can wholeheartedly recommend Sabikui Bisco. I've only seen the first episode and I already love it. The script writer is the script writer of Cowboy Bebop, so you know it's gonna be good. A little bit exposition heavy, but now that we're done with the exposition, further episodes are gonna be hype. I can already feel it. Anything else I need to mention? No, I don't think so. Share this video with your friends or something. I'm getting a lot of clicks, a lot of watches from people just sharing my videos on their Discords or Reddit or wherever. So if you want to help my channel but don't want to do it monetarily on Patreon, you can just share this video. Just don't spam all those communities and all that. And yeah, I think that's it. I shilled everything that needed to be shilled for, so I can end this episode. That's gonna be it from me for today, and as always, do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Cheers. And here's my outro again. You can join the list if you want. $10 is not the only tier, just $1 is enough to get you on this screen.